movie business, of course, has been hard hit. None harder, perhaps, than Cineplex, which has seen a big transaction also affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. Ellis Jacob, its CEO, is with us now. Ellis, great to have you with us. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
So let's just start with a quick check on the numbers. I was actually surprised, if I'm honest, that your revenue was only down 88%. I'm wondering where the revenue is coming from, other than me Uber eating popcorn, which I still do. But just in terms of what's still working, what you're able to do right now, what's your source of revenue?
Well, the theaters were open for a short while, but beside that, we have the Cineplex Store where you can go and watch movies and order your Uber Eats, so skip the dishes popcorn, like you said. And also our Cineplex digital media business continues to perform during these times.
This has obviously been an incredibly difficult time, Ellis. Just let's catch us up on the latest in your merger or your takeover transaction with Cineworld. What's happening there? What's likely to happen in future?
Well, as you know, basically, Cineworld backed away from the transaction, and we are now in legal proceedings, and basically looks like September will be the timing as to how and where we will find out on the results of the legal proceedings from both sides.
And what do you hope to achieve from the legal proceedings? I imagine not a transaction, but is it financial relief that would be the outcome there?
Yes, that's what we are looking at. Is we feel we did everything as a company to complete the transaction, and basically at the last minute, Cineworld reneged on it, and we would like to make sure that the shareholders get fair treatment as it relates to how Cineworld deals with Cineplex on the legal situation that we are in.
So obviously you were hit hard, and as you said, you were allowed to open and then restrictions were brought down. And I know yours was one of the voices, Ellis, that said, look, we've done everything we can to keep everybody safe, and it worked. There was no evidence of transmission in theaters, and yet the restrictions were imposed. Do you see light at the end of that tunnel? Do you see restrictions being lifted so you can get some revenue in the door?
Yes, I'd love to see that. And the fact of the matter is we basically have, the gold standard when it comes to protocols, when it comes to masking. And we want individuals, they've been cooped up. We want our guests to be able to come back in a safe way and watch the movies. And what I'm hoping for is that these restrictions get lifted and we can go back to business as it's happening in other parts of the world. And we've seen, for example, in Japan, China, Australia, the numbers are just astronomical once they've reopened. And even with physical distancing, we can still deliver, decent box office performance. And in addition, I've offered, the health authorities across the country the ability to use our theaters for vaccine sites, which, we can quickly accommodate with our parking lots and also our large lobbies.
We also, of course, are watching your company burn cash, inevitable when you got fixed costs and your revenue falls to this extent, and the credit facilities. And I know you've been working with creditors on terms and making sure that everything's in good standing. Do you need to worry about that piece of it should this drag out longer than we had hoped?
Now, we made an announcement that we are proceeding forward with a high-yield transaction, and we feel once we complete that, we will be bulletproofing the balance sheet for a significant period of time, which should get us through this pandemic. And we are very, very conscious about costs and, dealing with capital expenditures and other things in the business. And so far, we have had the assistance of the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy Program, which is CEWS, which has helped us. Now, that declined in the fourth quarter, but is going to, go back up in the first and second quarter of 2021. So that should help us get restarted when things open back up. So it's, we're looking forward to people and our guests coming back to the movies. We think it's a great experience, and we will make it through. And I think we will thrive when people are ready to come back.
One of the big changes that's happening, while you were shut down, is we've seen HBO Max announce that it'll go straight to streaming alongside theatrical distribution. This has been a trend, right? A slow-moving trend that you've seen coming your way, Ellis. Are you ready for it? What will it do to your business model?
Well, we've been working with our partners in distribution, and when you talk about, the streaming side of the business, for example, with Wonder Woman, because so many theaters were closed, we worked out a deal with our partners, Warner Brothers, and we showed the movie on the Cineplex Store, plus we showed it in the theaters that were available. So it was a PVOD a payment which you made, and you could watch it at home, or you could go to the theaters where the markets were open. Now, as COVID starts to lift, we see that the studios and ourselves need a theatrical window model, because the movies, when they are big blockbusters, the engine that's driving the train is the theaters. And you have so many ancillary benefits from it, including the fact that, you can make sequels, you have merchandise, you have theme parks. Those are all benefits that you don't see when you just go to a streaming platform. So we feel that the business will continue. There won't be a one-size-fits-all, but there will be variations that we will work together, and it will provide us with more content for our guests when they come to the theater.
Obviously, there was a rationale for Cineworld. I know that's sort of ongoing, but is there a transition like that in your future? Is it the reason that happened still with you and likely to make you think of some kind of partnership down the road?
Look, we are very focused on looking at all the opportunities, but at this point in time is really making sure that the company is back and successful, and we have looked at everything from a strategic perspective, and we are working really, really hard and when it comes to the capital deployment and where we get our funding from. And recently we did a sale leaseback of our office building in Toronto for $57 million, and we did a transaction on Scene. So we are continuing to look at opportunities to raise capital to protect the company long term.
Ellis Jacob, it's great to have you with us. We appreciate your time today. Ellis Jacob is the CEO of Cineplex.